There is a power working within you, a force unseen but ever present, shaping the very fabric of your reality. You may look around and see obstacles, struggle, and pain, but what if I told you that right now, in this very moment, your story is being rewritten? The hand of God moves beyond human understanding, beyond time, beyond limitation. What you call delay, He calls preparation. What you see as failure, He sees as a necessary chapter in a grander design. You are not forgotten, nor are you forsaken. Though your mind may race with questions, though your heart may be heavy with burdens, rest now. Release the need to understand how or when. Your only task is to trust, to believe, to know with absolute certainty that God is at work in your life. The world may say that change is difficult, that transformation takes effort, but divine power does not operate through struggle. It works through surrender. You do not need to push or force, only to align. Your reality is a reflection of your belief. If you hold on to the story of struggle, you will continue to see it unfold. But the moment you release it, the moment you declare that God is rewriting your destiny, everything begins to shift. Circumstances rearrange, doors open where there were none, and people appear in your life as if drawn by an invisible force. That is the work of God. Silent yet unstoppable, unseen yet undeniable. You are not a victim of fate. You are a vessel through which divine power flows. The old story no longer serves you. It is done. The past is not your prison unless you keep carrying it forward. Let it go now. Breathe, rest, and watch as the impossible bends in your favor. Your only responsibility is to hold the vision of a life redeemed, restored, and overflowing with blessings. There is nothing more to do, nothing more to fight against. Stand still and know that God is working. The pieces of your life are falling into place with precision beyond your comprehension. You do not need to chase, to beg, or to plead. You are already chosen. You are already written into the story of victory. It is already done. Rest now and watch how God moves in your life. God moves in ways beyond human comprehension, beyond the logic of the mind, beyond the limits of what your eyes can see. You may believe your story is set, that your circumstances define you, but in the realm of the divine, nothing is fixed. The moment you let go of resistance, the moment you surrender the struggle and trust, the unseen hand of God begins to weave something new. You are not abandoned, nor are you forgotten. You are not the forlorn abused. You are being shaped, refined, and prepared for something greater than you have imagined. Right now, you may feel surrounded by challenges, but those challenges are not permanent. They are stepping stones. What seems like a dead end is merely a transition into a greater unfolding. The problem is not the situation itself, but the perception of it. You have been conditioned to believe in limitations, to accept lack, to expect struggle. But those are not divine truths. They are illusions created by the world. In the mind of God, your story has already been written in victory. The struggle is only there to awaken you, to teach you to turn inward, to trust in the unseen power that governs all things. Rest now. Cease the endless striving, the anxious wondering, the need to control every detail. The moment you step back, God steps in. The moment you release fear, divine favor rushes in to fill the space. You are not waiting on God. God is waiting on you to align with the truth that everything is already working for your good. The delays, the disappointments, the closed doors, they were never punishments. They were divine redirections, gentle whispers from the universe guiding you towards something better. What you once called rejection was actually protection. What you thought was loss was preparation for increase. The mind cannot grasp the magnitude of God's work because it is conditioned by time, by logic, by past experiences. But God does not operate within those limits. The path may look unclear to you, but to the divine, every detail has already been arranged. Every connection, every opportunity, every breakthrough is already in motion. You do not need to figure out how, you only need to believe. When you believe without resistance, when you trust without questioning, the unseen becomes seen. That which was delayed suddenly appears. That which seemed impossible suddenly materializes. Your faith is the bridge between where you are and where you desire to be. Faith is not hoping, it is knowing. It is standing firm in the unseen, fully convinced that what you seek is already yours. This is not wishful thinking, nor is it blind optimism. It is spiritual law. It is the way the universe was designed to function. What you hold in consciousness must reflect in your world. What you dwell upon with certainty must be drawn into form. Do not allow circumstances to dictate your belief. Do not allow the external world to shake your inner knowing. God is not limited by appearances, and neither are you. The situation you are in now is nothing compared to the power working behind the scenes. Everything you have prayed for, every desire placed in your heart, is already being fulfilled in ways you cannot yet see. The movement of God is often subtle at first, almost imperceptible, like a seed germinating beneath the soil. But in the divine order, nothing is wasted, nothing is stagnant. There is constant movement, constant unfolding, and when the time is right, the results will burst forth into reality in ways that will leave you in awe. Release the timeline. Let go of the need to know when, how, or through whom your blessing will arrive. These are not your concerns. Your only task is to hold the vision, to align your mind with what is already true in the divine realm. See yourself as already blessed. Walk as if the doors are already open. Speak as though your testimony is already written. The moment you assume this posture, reality bends to accommodate it. God is working in your life right now. Even in moments of silence, even when it seems like nothing is changing, there is movement. The foundation is being laid. The pieces are being positioned. You do not need to strive, to force, to make things happen. Your role is to trust, to align, to expect. The mind wants proof before belief, but the Spirit knows that belief is the proof. When you believe, you open the floodgates for divine favor. When you rest in the certainty of God's promises, everything shifts in your favor. You are not bound by what has been. The past has no power unless you give it permission to shape your present. Release the old story. Release the weight of past failures, past disappointments, past wounds. They do not belong in your future. They were part of the journey, but not part of the destination. Every setback was a setup. Every hardship was a lesson. But now it is time to step into the new, to embrace the reality that God has already made a way where there seemed to be none. Your life is not unfolding by accident. Every detail, every event, every person who enters and exits your life is part of a grand design. Nothing is happening to you, it is happening for you. Even in your waiting season, there is purpose. Even in moments of uncertainty, there is divine order. Trust that God is working even when you do not see it, even when you do not understand it. The most powerful transformations happen in the unseen. Seeds grow in darkness before they break through the soil. Miracles manifest in silence before they are announced to the world. There is nothing missing in your life. Everything you need is already within you, waiting for recognition. The shift does not happen outside of you, it happens within. When you recognize yourself as already chosen, already blessed, already in possession of what you seek, the world must conform to that truth. This is the divine law. It does not fail, it does not falter. It is as sure as the rising sun, as certain as the beating of your heart. You were not created to struggle, to beg, to chase after what is already yours. You were created to embody, to receive, to walk in the fullness of divine provision. There is no lack in God, no shortage in the realm of the unseen. The only thing that can block the flow of abundance is doubt, fear, and attachment to the old. But the moment you let go, the moment you decide to rest in trust, the floodgates open. Your story is being rewritten in this very moment. What was meant to harm you is turning for your good. What seemed like a delay is setting you up for acceleration. What felt like a loss is making room for overflow. Do not fear, do not worry, do not try to force what is already yours. Just rest, just trust, just allow the divine to work as it always does. effortlessly, perfectly, and in ways beyond what you could ever imagine. Rest in the knowledge that the forces of the divine are already aligning every detail of your life. There is nothing out of order, nothing missing, nothing lost. Even when your eyes see difficulty, even when your heart feels weary, the truth remains unchanged. God is working, and His work is perfect. Every perceived delay is a moment of preparation. Every closed door is leading you to the right one. You are not wandering without direction, nor are you forgotten in the process. You are being positioned for something greater than your mind can yet comprehend. It is easy to believe when the evidence is before you, when the blessings are visible, when the answers come swiftly, but faith does not require sight. Faith is knowing before the manifestation, believing without needing proof, trusting when nothing seems to be happening. It is in these moments of stillness that God is working the most. The foundation is being set beneath the surface, and when the time is right, what has been prepared in the unseen will become undeniable in the seen. You do not need to strive, to force, or to control the process. The greatest breakthroughs come not through struggle, but through surrender. The moment you release the weight of worry, the burden of doubt, the chains of fear, you create space for miracles. The divine does not work through tension, it flows through peace. When you rest in trust, you align yourself with the limitless abundance that was always meant for you. The mind seeks solutions, timelines, explanations. It asks when, how, through whom. But the divine operates beyond such limitations. The moment you let go of the need to figure it out, you step into the flow of divine ease. Everything begins to unfold in perfect harmony, not by your effort, but by the unseen hand guiding all things. There is no need to chase what is already destined for you. There is no need to force open doors that are being prepared to swing wide on their own. Your only role is to remain steadfast in your knowing, unwavering in your trust, unshaken by temporary circumstances. Everything you desire already exists in the realm of the unseen. The love, the opportunities, the breakthroughs, the healing is not being created, it is being revealed. It is not being withheld, it is waiting for you to align with it. The moment you declare that, it is already done. The moment you stand in the certainty that God has already made the way, the physical world must conform. This is the nature of divine law. It is not wishful thinking, it is spiritual truth. The world may tell you to work harder, to struggle more, to do more. But the divine whispers something different. It says rest. It says trust. It says let go. The greatest miracles happen in stillness. The greatest transformations occur when you allow rather than resist. Every desire placed in your heart was placed there for a reason. Every vision you carry is a glimpse of what is already yours. Your job is not to question, not to fear, not to shrink back in doubt, but to rise in faith, to walk as if it is already done, to speak as though it has already come to pass. When you embody the energy of already having, the world responds accordingly. The unseen begins to move, the path begins to clear, the answers begin to appear. This is not coincidence. This is divine alignment. Everything you need is already being arranged. The right people, the right opportunities, the right circumstances are all coming together in perfect timing. There is no need to rush. There is no need to fear. The divine never moves too soon, nor does it move too late. It moves precisely, perfectly, and always in your favor. The struggles of the past do not define the future. What has been does not dictate what will be. The moment you shift your focus from what was to what is possible, you unlock a new reality. The past has served its purpose. It has prepared you, strengthened you, shaped you, but it is not your identity. You are not bound to old patterns, old failures, old disappointments. You are being made new in this very moment. Every old chain is breaking. Every past limitation is dissolving. You are stepping into a new version of yourself, one that no longer clings to fear, but stands firm in faith. Every challenge you have faced was not to break you, but to build you. Every difficulty was not to defeat you, but to elevate you. You have been refined through the process, and now you are ready to receive the blessings that have always been meant for you. No effort has been wasted. No tear has gone unnoticed. Everything has been accounted for, and everything is turning in your favor. What was once a test will soon be your testimony. What once felt like struggle will soon be a story of victory. There is nothing too great for God. No situation is beyond His power. No obstacle is beyond His ability to remove. What seems impossible in human eyes is effortless in divine hands. The very thing that has seemed out of reach is already being placed in your path. The very answer you have been seeking is already on its way. There is no need to fight for what has already been written as yours. Simply align, simply believe, simply stand in the unwavering knowing that it is already done. You have spent enough time doubting. You have spent enough time questioning. Now is the time to step fully into faith. Now is the time to embrace the truth that God is working, that your story is shifting, that what you seek is seeking you. There is no separation between you and the life you desire. The only separation exists in belief. The moment you decide that it is already yours, the world must rearrange to reflect that truth. The moment you accept that divine favor is already upon you, the blessings must manifest in form. Rest now. Release the need to know every step. Release the need to see immediate proof. The proof is in the unseen, and soon it will be undeniable in the seen. The work has already been completed in the spiritual realm. The manifestation is simply a matter of alignment. Walk as though you have already received. Speak as though the prayer has already been answered. Move through life as though every door is already open. This is the posture of faith. This is the energy that accelerates miracles. God is not distant. He is not waiting for you to earn His favor, for you have already been chosen. You have already been marked for blessings beyond measure. The divine does not withhold, it only awaits your recognition. The moment you recognize yourself as already worthy, already abundant, already victorious, the world must comply. Nothing outside of you has power over your destiny. No circumstance, no past mistake, no external condition can alter what God has ordained. You are already positioned for greatness. You are already walking in divine favor. Allow the old to fall away. Allow the new to emerge. Let go of fear, of hesitation, of the need for control. Surrender fully to the knowing that your story is being rewritten. The chapter of struggle is closing. The chapter of abundance is beginning. There is nothing more for you to do, nothing more for you to force. Just rest, just trust, just allow. God is working in your life, and what is coming will exceed every expectation, every prayer, and every dream you have ever carried. It is already done. Every moment you rest in faith, you allow the divine to unfold miracles in ways beyond your understanding. There is no force greater than trust, no energy more powerful than unwavering belief. The mind may try to reason, to calculate, to analyze, but the ways of God are not bound by logic. They operate in the unseen, moving pieces into place in perfect harmony. What seems delayed is already in motion. What feels distant is already reaching for you. Your only task is to remain still in your knowing, for everything is happening exactly as it should. You have already been set apart for something greater than your current reality. The struggles you have faced were never meant to define you, but to prepare you. The pain you have endured was never meant to break you, but to refine you. Every challenge was a necessary piece of the story, leading you to this moment, this realization, this truth. You were never abandoned. You were never forsaken. The hand of God has been upon you all along, guiding, shaping. Even in the darkest nights, the divine light never left you. Even in the moments of deep uncertainty, heaven was orchestrating your breakthrough. What appears as silence is not absence. What seems like stillness is not inactivity. The unseen is more real than what the eyes can perceive. Every prayer has been heard. Every tear has been collected. Every longing of your heart has been acknowledged. And now the shift is taking place. Not because you fought for it, not because you forced it, but because you finally surrendered. The moment you release control is the moment divine power takes over. The moment you step out of the way is the moment the path clears. You do not need to push against the current, you need only to flow with the tide of destiny. There is no mistake in your journey, no experience has been wasted. Every detour, every delay, every disappointment was divinely permitted to bring you to something higher, something greater, something you could not have imagined for yourself. What you thought was rejection was redirection. What you saw as failure was preparation. You have not lost anything that was truly meant for you. What is yours cannot be taken, cannot be destroyed, cannot be blocked. It is sealed by divine decree, and no earthly force can undo what has already been set in motion. The doors that once seemed shut will open effortlessly. The opportunities that once felt out of reach will present themselves without struggle. The love, the abundance, the peace that once felt unattainable will flood into your life with ease. Not because you begged, not because you chased, but because you believed. The power of faith is the key that unlocks every divine blessing. The moment you trust in the unseen, you align with a force that is beyond human limitation. You step into the flow of miracles, where things unfold with divine ease, where battles are won without lifting a hand, where blessings chase you down instead of you chasing after them. This is the moment where you shift from waiting to receiving. You are not in a season of lack, but in a season of transformation. You are not being overlooked, but being prepared. Every time you rest in the knowing that God is working, you accelerate the process. Every time you release the need to figure it out, you make space for the divine to work in ways beyond your imagination. There is no need to strive. There is no need to worry. The outcome has already been determined and it is good. What if you stopped doubting? What if you stopped looking for signs and simply decided that it is already done? What if you woke up each day with the certainty that what you seek is seeking you, that what you desire is already unfolding? What if you spoke as if it had already happened, acted as if you were already living in the reality you long for? The world would shift, the circumstances would realign. The evidence would appear, not because the external changed first, but because your inner state became the magnet for the life that was always yours. Everything is a reflection of what you hold within. If you carry fear, you see obstacles. If you carry doubt, you see delays. But if you carry faith, you see movement. If you carry trust, you see doors opening. The choice is yours in every moment. Will you align with the fear of lack, or will you align with the certainty of divine provision? Will you dwell in the past, or will you step fully into the power of the present moment, where all things are possible? Your story is shifting in this very moment. Even if your eyes cannot yet see it, even if your hands cannot yet touch it, the transformation is happening beneath the surface. The divine blueprint of your life is unfolding exactly as it should. No mistake has been made, no effort has been in vain. You are exactly where you are meant to be, and everything is unfolding for your highest good. There is nothing more to do but trust, nothing more to force but to allow. The moment you let go of the struggle, you step into divine ease. The moment you stop resisting, the blessings flow. The moment you believe without condition, the manifestation begins. Rest now. The battle is no longer yours. The work is already being done. The victory is already won. God is moving, and your story is changing in ways you never imagined. There is no force in the universe greater than the divine will working on your behalf. Even when you cannot see it, even when it feels as if nothing is changing, the unseen hand of God is moving. There is no moment of your life that is outside of divine awareness. Every thought, every prayer, every unspoken desire of your heart is known, and when the time is right, what has been prepared for you will appear. Not by force, not by struggle, but by the effortless unfolding of divine timing. You do not need to strive for what is already yours. You do not need to chase what has been assigned to you. Everything is already set in motion. The answers, the breakthroughs, the divine opportunities, they are not distant, they are not far away. They are simply waiting for the moment when your heart is fully open to receive. And that moment comes not through worry, not through doubt, but through deep, unshakable trust. The more you release, the more you receive. The more you surrender, the more doors open. The human mind seeks control, seeks logic, seeks to understand, but the ways of God are beyond human comprehension. What may seem like delay is divine preparation. What may seem like silence is the setting of the stage. What may feel like unanswered prayers is the unfolding of something far greater than you imagined. If only you could see the grand design being woven on your behalf, you would rest in absolute peace. You would not question, you would not fear, you would not wonder if it is coming. You would simply know that it is already done. Every great story has moments of tension, moments where it seems like nothing is happening, moments where everything appears to be working against the main character. But those moments are never the end. They are simply the space before the breakthrough, the stillness before the transformation, the preparation before the victory. And so it is with your life. What you perceive as obstacles are merely stepping stones. What you see as setbacks are simply reroutes leading you to something better. The plan for your life is perfect, unshakable, unbreakable. No force on earth, no mistake, no misstep can undo what has been divinely ordained for you. The more you trust, the faster things move. The more you let go of the need to figure it all out, the more space you create for the divine to work in miraculous ways. There is nothing missing in your life. There is nothing you lack. Everything you need has already been provided for. The resources, the connections, the solutions, the opportunities, they are all being aligned right now. The only thing standing between you and their arrival is your willingness to believe without condition. What if you stopped doubting? What if you stopped looking at circumstances and simply decided that it is already done? What if you refused to entertain thoughts of lack, thoughts of fear, thoughts of limitation? What if instead you held a deep and unwavering knowing that all things are working for your good? The moment you shift your belief, the moment you decide that what you seek is already yours, reality bends to match your inner conviction. The world is not happening to you, it is responding to you. The divine mirrors back to you whatever you hold within. Hold worry, and you see reasons to worry. Hold faith, and you see reasons to believe. Hold gratitude, and you receive even more to be grateful for. There is nothing left for you to do but trust. You have done enough. You have asked, you have prayed, you have sought guidance. Now it is time to rest in the knowing that the answer is already on its way. The moment you release, the moment you stop grasping, everything begins to move in your favor. You do not need to struggle. You do not need to figure it out. The divine has already gone before you, preparing the way, aligning the details, setting the stage for the perfect unfolding. It may not come in the way you expected. It may not appear in the way you planned. But when it arrives, you will know that it was divinely orchestrated. Every detail will be perfect. Every moment will be aligned. And you will look back and understand why things had to unfold exactly as they did. You will see that nothing was lost, nothing was wasted. Every moment of waiting, every moment of uncertainty, every challenge was leading you to this, to something beyond what you could have imagined. If you could see the way God sees, you would not fear, you would not worry, you would not question, you would rest in perfect peace, knowing that all things are unfolding for your highest good. You would wake each day with confidence, knowing that what is meant for you can never be taken from you. You would walk with certainty, knowing that even when things seem still, heaven is moving on your behalf. The moment you step into this trust, the moment you let go of the need to control, the moment you stop doubting, everything shifts. Doors open effortlessly. Answers appear, miracles unfold, not because you forced them, but because you aligned with them. Not because you struggled for them, but because you finally allowed them. The greatest breakthroughs come when you stop fighting and start trusting. The greatest blessings come when you stop chasing and start receiving. Rest now. Let go of the worry, the stress, the need to figure it out. It is already being taken care of. The divine is already at work. The story is already written. The victory is already won. What is meant for you is making its way to you in perfect timing, in perfect order, in perfect alignment. God is working, and nothing can stop what has already been set in motion. You do not need to chase what is already moving toward you. Every moment of your life has been accounted for. Every step, every breath, every pause. It is all unfolding exactly as it should. Even in the moments when you feel lost, when you wonder if your prayers have gone unheard, when it seems like nothing is changing, know this: God is working. The invisible forces of creation are aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities in ways you cannot yet see. There is no wasted time, no missed chances, no wrong turns in the divine plan. What is yours, and nothing can take it away. The mind seeks reassurance. It looks for signs, for proof, for evidence that things are moving in the right direction. But faith does not require proof. Faith is knowing before seeing, believing before receiving, trusting before understanding. It is the unwavering confidence that, even in the silence, God is speaking. Even in the stillness, God is moving. Even in the waiting, God is preparing something far greater than you can imagine. What looks like delay is not delay. It is divine timing in motion. You were never meant to carry the weight of your future on your own. You were never meant to figure it all out by yourself. The burden of uncertainty, of trying to control the outcome, of worrying about the how and when, release it. It is not yours to carry. The moment you let go, the moment you surrender fully, is the moment things begin to shift. Miracles happen when you stop trying to force them. Breakthroughs come when you step out of the way and allow them. The path is already clear. It is only your doubt that clouds your vision. The moment you trust, the moment you rest, the moment you step into absolute faith, everything changes. There is no such thing as an impossible situation. There is no such thing as being too far gone, too late, too broken, too lost. Every circumstance, no matter how impossible it seems, is subject to divine transformation. The sickness that seems incurable, the financial struggle that feels overwhelming, the relationship that appears beyond repair, none of it is beyond God's reach. What seems unchangeable can change in an instant. What seems blocked can open in the blink of an eye. What seems broken can be made whole in ways you never imagined. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not alone. Even in your darkest moments, when you feel abandoned, when you feel like nothing is working in your favor, God is nearer than ever. He is whispering to your heart, guiding your steps, setting things in place for your highest good. The challenges you face are not signs of punishment. They are not evidence that you have been forsaken. They are the refining fire, the necessary preparation, the process that leads to transformation. Every story of greatness, every testimony of victory, every miracle that has ever unfolded began in a place of uncertainty. It began in the waiting, in the questioning, in the moments when nothing made sense. The difference between those who see the fulfillment of their prayers and those who do not is simple. Those who trust without wavering, those who believe even when there is no evidence, those who hold on to faith even in the face of impossibility, these are the ones who see mountains move. These are the ones who experience the supernatural. God is rewriting your story. What was meant for harm will turn for good. What was stolen will be restored. What was lost will be returned in greater measure. The pain, the struggles, the tears, they were never in vain. They were never without purpose. Every trial was shaping you, preparing you, strengthening you for what is to come. If you could see what is ahead, if you could glimpse the blessings that are waiting for you, you would not fear. You would not doubt. You would rest in perfect peace, knowing that everything is aligning in your favor. Nothing is too big for God. Nothing is beyond His power. He does not need time. He does not need logical solutions. He does not work according to human limitations. In an instant, He can open doors you never knew existed. In a moment, He can change everything. But He is waiting on you to trust, to let go, to believe fully, without hesitation. You have prayed, you have hoped, now release it. Rest. Let go of the need to constantly question, to constantly seek reassurance, to constantly wonder if it will happen. It is already done. The moment you asked, the answer was set into motion. The moment you believed, the manifestation began. The only thing that remains is for you to receive. And receiving requires rest. Receiving requires surrender. Receiving requires stepping into the absolute knowing that what you seek is already yours. This is not about waiting. This is about trusting. This is about stepping into the reality where you know, beyond any doubt, that God has already worked it out. The more you rest in this truth, the faster things unfold. The more you align your heart with divine assurance, the more effortlessly things fall into place. This is the way of miracles. This is the way of divine manifestation. Your story is not over. Your journey is not finished. The best chapters are still being written. The most beautiful moments are still ahead. The breakthrough you seek, the answer you long for, the change you have been praying for, it is closer than you think. Trust, rest, and know that God is working in your life in ways beyond what you can see or imagine. So now, release the worry, the fear, and the need to understand every step. Let go of the resistance, the doubt, and the constant questioning. God has already set everything in motion. Your only task is to trust, to rest, and to receive. What is meant for you is already yours. The transformation, the breakthrough, the answered prayer, it is unfolding even now. Do not let your mind convince you otherwise. Walk in faith, speak in faith, think in faith. The same God who has brought you this far will not fail you now. Stand firm, believe, and watch as your story is rewritten in ways far greater than you ever imagined. There is a quiet assurance that comes when you are on the right path. It is not always announced with fanfare or marked with grand signs from the heavens, but rather it unfolds like a whisper in the depths of your soul. There are moments when the world around you may seem chaotic, yet within there is a deep and abiding peace. This is the first sign. You feel a sense of calm even when the external world does not reflect it. Its circumstances may shift, challenges may arise, yet you remain unshaken, for something within tells you that all is unfolding as it should. Another sign is that you begin to witness small, seemingly insignificant manifestations of your desires. It may be a phrase you hear repeated, a book that appears at the perfect moment, a conversation that confirms what you already knew deep inside. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. The world around you is beginning to echo the thoughts you have impressed upon your mind. What once seemed distant now feels within reach. You see the evidence before it fully materializes, and you know you're on the right path. There is also a shift in your relationships. Some people begin to fade from your life, not out of malice or conflict, but because their presence is no longer in alignment with where you are going. Others, however, enter unexpectedly, carrying messages, opportunities, and encouragement. You do not chase connections anymore. They flow effortlessly to you. Those who remain in your life seem to reflect the version of yourself you are becoming, as if the world is adjusting to match the new image you have formed in your mind. Doubt and fear do not hold the same power over you. You may still hear their whispers, but they do not control your actions. Where once hesitation may have stopped you, now you move forward despite uncertainty. You begin to trust in unseen forces guiding you, in the invisible bridge forming beneath your feet as you walk forward. This trust is not based on logic, but on knowing, a knowing that does not require evidence, only belief. Your desires no longer feel like distant dreams, but present realities waiting to unfold. You stop yearning and start embodying. You think from the place of fulfillment, not lack. You act as if it is already done, because within you already possess it. The more you persist in this knowing, the more the world rearranges itself to reflect it back to you. Opportunities arise in ways you never expected. Doors you once knocked on without response now swing open effortlessly. Where you once struggled, now there is flow. You realize that struggle was never necessary. It was belief in struggle that made it real. Now, as you trust in the unseen, ease replaces effort, and things begin to fall into place without force. Synchronicities become a regular occurrence. The right words, the right people, the right situations, all seem to appear at the perfect time. Time itself feels different. Moments of deep presence stretch infinitely, while unnecessary distractions fade away. You are no longer pulled by the past or anxious about the future, for you are fully engaged in the now. And it is in this now that the power to shape all things exists. You no longer seek signs, for you have become the sign. The world reflects your inner state, and because you have chosen to walk in certainty, the path beneath you continues to unfold in perfect harmony. The path was always there, waiting for you to trust, to believe, to step forward in faith. And now, as you move with unwavering conviction, you realize you were never lost. You were simply awakening to the truth that you were always on the right path. There is a quiet assurance that comes when you are on the right path. It is not always announced with fanfare or marked with grand signs from the heavens, but rather it unfolds like a whisper in the depths of your soul. There are moments when the world around you may seem chaotic, yet within there is a deep and abiding peace. This is the first sign. You feel a sense of calm even when the external world does not reflect it. Circumstances may shift, challenges may arise, yet you remain unshaken, for something within tells you that all is unfolding as it should. Another sign is that you begin to witness small, seemingly insignificant manifestations of your desires. It may be a phrase you hear repeated, a book that appears at the perfect moment, a conversation that confirms what you already knew deep inside. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. The world around you is beginning to echo the thoughts you have impressed upon your mind. What once seemed distant now feels within reach. You see the evidence before it fully materializes, and you know you are on the right path. There is also a shift in your relationships. Some people begin to fade from your life, not out of malice or conflict, but because their presence is no longer in alignment with where you are going. Others, however, enter unexpectedly, carrying messages, opportunities, and encouragement. You do not chase connections anymore. They flow effortlessly to you. Those who remain in your life seem to reflect the version of yourself you are becoming, as if the world is adjusting to match the new image you have formed in your mind. Doubt and fear do not hold the same power over you. You may still hear their whispers, but they do not control your actions. Where once hesitation may have stopped you, now you move forward despite uncertainty. You begin to trust in unseen forces guiding you, in the invisible bridge forming beneath your feet as you walk forward. This trust is not based on logic, but on knowing. A knowing that does not require evidence, only belief. Your desires no longer feel like distant dreams, but present realities waiting to unfold. You stop yearning and start embodying. You think from the place of fulfillment, not lack. You act as if it is already done, because within you already possess it. The more you persist in this knowing, the more the world rearranges itself to reflect it back to you. Opportunities arise in ways you never expected. Doors you once knocked on without response now swing open effortlessly. Where you once struggled, now there is flow. You realize that struggle was never necessary. It was belief in struggle that made it real. Now, as you trust in the unseen, ease replaces effort, and things begin to fall into place without force. Synchronicities become a regular occurrence. The right words, the right people, the right situations all seem to appear at the perfect time. Time itself feels different. Moments of deep presence stretch infinitely, while unnecessary distractions fade away. You are no longer pulled by the past or anxious about the future, for you are fully engaged in the now. And it is in this now that the power to shape all things exists. You no longer seek signs, for you have become the sign. The world reflects your inner state, and because you have chosen to walk in certainty, the path beneath you continues to unfold in perfect harmony. The path was always there, waiting for you to trust, to believe, to step forward in faith. And now, as you move with unwavering conviction, you realize you were never lost. You were simply awakening to the truth that you were always on the right path. There is a shift in your emotions, a change in how you respond to the world. Where once you were quick to react, now you observe. The situations that once triggered frustration, fear, or doubt now seem distant, as if they no longer belong to you. You begin to realize that your inner state dictates your experience, and you guard it fiercely. You do not allow external events to disturb your inner sanctuary, for you have discovered that the only reality that matters is the one within you. You have discovered that the only reality that matters is the one within you. When something does not align with your new self-concept, you do not resist it. You simply turn your attention away, knowing that what you focus on expands. This is a powerful sign that you are on the right path. Your emotions are no longer dictated by the world, but by the truth you hold within. You notice that the old version of you, the one that doubted, worried, and hesitated, no longer feels familiar. You catch glimpses of the thoughts you used to entertain, but they seem foreign now, as if they belong to someone else. You have stepped into a new identity, and the old self no longer has power over you. This transition is not always sudden. It happens in small moments, in tiny realizations, in brief flashes of awareness that remind you that you have changed. And the more you embrace this new self, the more the world conforms to it. You do not force change, you allow it, and it happens effortlessly. The concept of time itself begins to shift. What once felt urgent now feels insignificant. You no longer rush, for you understand that all things come in their appointed time. There is a patience, a stillness, a knowing that what you seek is already yours. You stop looking for evidence because you no longer need it. The world must reflect what you believe, and you hold steadfast to that belief. Even when the physical world has yet to catch up, this patience is not passive. It is the greatest act of faith, a faith so unwavering that the world bends to meet it. You begin to feel a deep sense of gratitude, not just for what you have, but for what you know is already unfolding. This gratitude is not conditional. It does not wait for things to appear before it is felt. It is a gratitude that precedes manifestation, a gratitude that affirms your certainty. And the more you dwell in this feeling, the faster things materialize. You no longer seek, you receive. You no longer hope, you expect. You no longer wish, you declare. And in that declaration, the world must respond. You no longer question whether you are on the right path, for the path itself is not something you find, it is something you create. Each step forward is an act of creation, each thought a brushstroke on the canvas of your reality. You are no longer a passive observer of life, you are its architect. The signs are not outside of you, they emanate from within. You do not need to look for them, for they are already present in every moment, in every breath, in every beat of your heart. There is a sense of inevitability about your success, a feeling that nothing can stop you. You no longer entertain thoughts of failure, for failure itself is an illusion, a concept created by those who do not understand the nature of creation. You know now that everything is working in your favor, even the challenges, even the detours, even the moments that once felt like setbacks. They were never setbacks, they were stepping stones, perfectly placed to lead you exactly where you need to be. The opinions of others no longer concern you. You do not seek validation, for you are already validated by your own knowing. You do not require permission, for you have given yourself permission to step into the life that has always been meant for you. The approval of the world is meaningless compared to the approval you have given yourself. And because of this, the world respects you in a way it never has before, and people sense something different about you. They may not be able to put it into words, but they feel it. They feel the certainty, the confidence, the unshakable belief that radiates from within you. The right path is not always the easiest, but it is the most fulfilling. It requires trust, persistence, and an unbreakable faith in the unseen. But when you walk it, when you commit to it fully, everything changes. You realize that you are not merely walking a path, you are the path. The journey was never about finding something outside of you, it was about uncovering what was already within. And now, as you move forward with unwavering certainty, you understand that you were never lost, never uncertain, never without direction. You were always exactly where you needed to be. There comes a moment when you no longer question whether things are working in your favor. You no longer seek reassurance from the outside world because something deep within you already knows. It is not an arrogant knowing, nor is it a fleeting belief. It is a quiet certainty, a conviction that does not waver. You may not yet see the full manifestation of your desires, but you feel them as real, as present, as inevitable. And that feeling alone is enough. It carries you forward without resistance, without doubt, without the need to look back. When you are on the right path, you begin to experience a profound shift in how you view setbacks. What once appeared as obstacles now seem like divine arrangements, guiding you in ways you could not have planned for yourself. You no longer see delays as denials, but as preparation. You trust the timing of your life because you have come to understand that everything is aligning with absolute precision. Even when something does not go as expected, you find yourself responding differently. There is no panic, no despair, only a quiet awareness that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. A deep sense of detachment begins to take root. Not the kind of detachment that means indifference, but the kind that comes from true faith. You no longer chase after things with desperation because you recognize that what is meant for you cannot be lost. You do not cling to circumstances, to people, to outcomes, because you understand that the source of all creation is within you. You do not need to control the process. You need only trust it. This is when things begin to flow effortlessly. The moment you release attachment to how something must happen, you create space for miracles to unfold. You find yourself being led by intuition rather than logic. Your mind, once filled with doubts and overthinking, becomes quiet, and you begin to listen to something deeper. You follow nudges, impulses, subtle inner promptings that guide you in ways that cannot always be explained. And when you trust these feelings, they always lead you somewhere meaningful. You start to see how everything is connected, how each experience was placed in your path for a reason. Even the moments that once seem insignificant now reveal themselves to be stepping stones, perfectly orchestrated to bring you to where you are meant to be. Your energy shifts, and with it, the way the world responds to you. You notice how people treat you differently, how opportunities seem to present themselves without effort, how the things you once struggled for now come with ease. This is not coincidence, it is alignment. The outer world is simply reflecting the changes that have taken place within you. You no longer doubt your worth, and so the world no longer gives you reasons to question it. You no longer seek validation, and so you find yourself naturally respected. The shift happens subtly at first, but over time it becomes undeniable. You are no longer trying to attract things, you are embodying the state in which they naturally come to you. There is a newfound appreciation for stillness. The need for constant movement, for distractions, for external stimulation fades away. You find peace in the present moment, in simply being. There is no rush, no urgency, no impatience, just a deep contentment that does not depend on circumstances. You realize that happiness is not something you chase, but something you allow. And the more you dwell in this state, the more your external world begins to mirror it. The people, the opportunities, the experiences that come into your life all seem to align effortlessly with the peace you have cultivated within. You no longer react to life, you respond to it. Where once you were easily shaken by challenges, now you remain grounded. You see beyond appearances, beyond temporary circumstances, and into the deeper meaning of things. You no longer waste energy on worry, on frustration, on fear, because you understand that all things are working together for your highest good. And even in moments of uncertainty, you remain steady because you have built your foundation on something unshakable, the knowing that your path is divinely guided. Your desires no longer feel separate from you. There is no gap between where you are and where you want to be, because you have stepped into the feeling of already having it. You speak, think, and act from the reality you have chosen, and the world begins to reflect it back to you. What once felt like wishful thinking now feels like an inevitable unfolding. The distance between desire and manifestation disappears, and all that remains is your unwavering faith in what is already yours. The things that used to consume your energy no longer hold the same power over you. The need to prove yourself, to seek approval, to justify your choices fades away. You no longer concern yourself with how others perceive you, because you are no longer living for their validation. You are living for your own truth, and that truth does not require explanation. The opinions of others become background noise, while your inner voice becomes background noise. While your inner voice becomes background noise, 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 while your inner voice becomes background noise. You do not need the world to agree with your vision, for you know that it is already done. You become magnetic to the things that align with your highest self. People, experiences, and opportunities appear effortlessly, drawn to the energy you now radiate. You no longer chase, you attract. You do not beg for things to happen, you allow them. And in this allowing, you realize that you have stepped into a state of effortless creation. The more you trust, the more things align. The more you let go, the more things come to you. The more you surrender, the more power you gain. You see evidence of your alignment everywhere. The numbers, the signs, the synchronicities. They are constant reminders that you are exactly where you need to be. The world begins to feel like a conversation, one in which the universe is always speaking to you, guiding you, reassuring you. The path ahead no longer feels uncertain because you are no longer waiting for something to happen. You are walking in the knowing that it already has. You realize that nothing is missing. The feeling of lack, of longing, of needing something outside of yourself to be complete disappears. You no longer wait for the future to bring you happiness, for you have found it within. And as you rest in this state, you watch as the world around you transforms to match it. You have become the embodiment of your desires. And because of this, they can no longer be separate from you. There is a profound stillness in knowing, a quiet power in certainty, a peace that cannot be disturbed. This is how you know you are on the right path, not because of what is happening around you, but because of what is happening within you. The signs are no longer something you look for. They are something you recognize. And as you move forward, you do so with absolute confidence, knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. There is no need to rush, no need to force, no need to demand anything from life. You begin to realize that everything is flowing exactly as it should, in perfect divine timing. The urgency that once ruled your mind disappears, replaced by an unshakable trust in the process. You no longer grasp at the future, nor do you dwell in the past. You simply exist in the now, fully aware that everything is unfolding in your favor. The people around you may not understand this shift. They may wonder why you are no longer worried, why you do not react the way you once did, why you seem so calm even when things appear uncertain. But that is because they are still caught in the illusion of lack, of struggle, of separation. You, however, have stepped beyond that illusion. You see beyond appearances, beyond temporary circumstances, into the unseen reality that is always shaping your life. You are no longer swayed by negativity. It no longer has a place within you. What used to trigger you, what used to disturb your peace, now simply passes through you like a fleeting shadow. You are no longer bound by the limitations of the old self. You have become someone new, someone who operates from a higher understanding, a greater awareness. And in this state, nothing can shake you. Nothing can pull you away from the deep knowing that you are exactly where you need to be. Doubt has no hold over you. Fear no longer paralyzes you. You no longer question whether you are worthy, whether you are capable, whether you are moving in the right direction. You feel it, you know it, and because of that, the path ahead becomes clear. Decisions that once felt impossible now come easily. The fog of uncertainty lifts, revealing the way forward with absolute clarity. You do not hesitate. You do not second guess. You move with confidence, with purpose, with the full knowing that every step you take is guided. Opportunities appear effortlessly. What once seemed out of reach now comes to you without struggle. You no longer need to chase, to beg, to plead for things to happen. They happen naturally as a direct reflection of the state you are in. You do not have to manipulate circumstances, nor do you need to convince anyone of your worth. The energy you radiate speaks for itself. The world responds to you in a way it never has before. You no longer live in resistance. There is no need to fight against life, to force things into place, to control every outcome. You let go, and in that letting go, you find that everything begins to align effortlessly. What is meant for you flows into your life with ease. What is not meant for you naturally falls away. You do not chase, you do not cling, you simply allow. And in this state of allowing, you discover the greatest power of all, the power of trust. You begin to see signs everywhere, not because you are looking for them, but because you are aligned with them. The universe is always speaking to you, always confirming that you are on the right path. Numbers, symbols, synchronicities. Each one a gentle reminder that you are exactly where you need to be. You no longer need external validation, but when you receive it, it only strengthens the truth you already know. There is a new sense of purpose in everything you do. Even the smallest actions feel meaningful. There is no more aimless wandering, no more questioning why you are here or what you are meant to do. The answers reveal themselves effortlessly. The vision becomes clearer, the purpose undeniable. You wake up each day with a quiet excitement, a deep gratitude for the life you are creating. The dreams that once felt distant now feel close, tangible, real. You find joy in the present moment, no longer waiting for some future event to bring happiness, no longer believing that fulfillment lies somewhere outside of you. You realize that everything you have been seeking has been within you all along. And because of that, the world begins to reflect your inner joy. You attract experiences that mirror the happiness, the peace, the love you have cultivated within. You notice how effortlessly things unfold when you surrender. The people who are meant to be in your life show up at the right time. The opportunities you once longed for appear without struggle. The doors that once seemed closed now open with ease. You are no longer forcing. Life is carrying you forward, guiding you with gentle precision. The more you trust, the more you allow, the more you receive. The past no longer defines you. You are not bound by old stories, old limitations, old beliefs that once held you back. You have stepped into a new version of yourself, one that is limitless, one that is free. You no longer replay the past in your mind, no longer dwell on what could have been, what should have been. You understand now that everything happened exactly as it needed to bring you to this moment. There are no regrets, only wisdom gained. You are no longer controlled by fear. It no longer has a place in your mind, in your heart, in your actions. Fear once held you back, but now you move forward with courage, with certainty, with a knowing that nothing can stand in your way. You understand that fear is an illusion, a false story that no longer has power over you. The moment you release it, you become unstoppable. You feel lighter, freer, as if a weight you did not even realize you were carrying has been lifted. The burdens, the worries, the anxieties, they are gone. In their place is peace, a peace that cannot be shaken, that does not depend on circumstances, that remains steady no matter what is happening around you. You no longer need to explain yourself, to prove yourself, to seek approval from others. You move in silence, with confidence, with a knowing that speaks louder than words. You do not need the world to understand your journey, for you understand it. You do not need anyone to validate your path, for you walk it with unwavering faith. Everything in your life begins to feel effortless, not because challenges do not exist, but because you no longer see them as obstacles. You see them as opportunities. You welcome them, knowing that they are simply part of the process. You do not resist, you do not fight against them, you move through them with grace, knowing that they are shaping you, preparing you for what is to come. Your dreams no longer feel distant. They feel real, present, already yours. You no longer wait for them to happen. You live as if they already have, and in doing so, you bring them into reality. You embody the energy of what you desire, and the world cannot help but reflect it back to you. This is how you know you are on the right path, not by what others say, not by what the world tells you, but by what you feel deep within. It is a knowing beyond words, beyond logic, beyond explanation. It is a certainty that does not waver. You no longer need to seek signs. You are the sign. You no longer need to question. You already know. And as you move forward, you do so with unwavering trust, with absolute confidence, with the full knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. You begin to realize that the struggles that once consumed you were never meant to break you, but to build you. Every moment of pain, every trial, every seeming setback was nothing more than a preparation for the greatness unfolding before you. You look back, not with regret, but with gratitude, for you now understand that without those moments, you would not have awakened to the truth of who you are. You would not have discovered the depth of your own power. You would not have seen how infinitely capable you are of transforming your own life. The resistance you once felt toward change begins to dissolve. You no longer fear the unknown. You no longer cling to what was, to what felt safe, to what once gave you comfort. You understand now that growth requires movement, that transformation requires letting go. And so, you surrender, not in weakness, but in absolute trust. You surrender to the unfolding of life, knowing that every shift, every change, every redirection is guiding you closer to your divine destiny. You find that you are no longer attached to outcomes. You do not demand that things happen in a certain way, at a certain time, in a certain form. You simply allow. You move in faith, in certainty, in the deep knowing that what is meant for you will always find its way to you. And because of that, you are no longer ruled by frustration, by impatience, by doubt. You remain steady, unmoved by circumstances, unshaken by delays, for you know that everything is aligning for you in perfect divine order. The energy of scarcity, of lack, of limitation no longer controls you. You do not operate from a place of needing, of begging, of chasing. You operate from a place of fullness. You embody the very thing you desire, and because of that, it naturally flows to you. You do not worry about what you do not have. You do not obsess over what is missing. Instead, you focus on what is already within you, on what is already unfolding, on the abundance that is already present. And in doing so, you attract even more. You notice how the right people begin to appear in your life, not by chance, not by coincidence, but by alignment. You no longer struggle to maintain relationships that drain you, that do not serve you, that pull you away from your purpose. You let go of the need to force connections, to seek approval, to hold on to what no longer belongs in your life. And as you do, the right souls enter. People who align with your vision, who support your growth, who elevate your spirit. You realize that solitude does not mean loneliness. You no longer fear being alone, for you understand that solitude is where your greatest power is cultivated. You cherish the moments of stillness, the moments of silence, the moments where you can hear the voice within you guiding you forward. You are no longer distracted by the noise of the world, no longer seeking validation outside of yourself. You are content in your own presence, for you have discovered that everything you need has always been within you. You begin to move differently. You walk with confidence, with certainty, with a quiet power that does not need to announce itself. You no longer explain yourself, defend yourself, seek approval from those who do not understand your journey. You do not waste energy convincing anyone of your worth, for you know that those who are meant to see it already do. You do not chase opportunities, for you know that the right ones will find you. You do not force anything, for you trust that what is meant for you cannot be lost. You notice that time begins to work in your favor. What once felt delayed now arrives at the perfect moment. What once seemed impossible now unfolds effortlessly. You understand now that everything happens not when you demand it, but when you are truly ready to receive it. And so you stop resisting, stop pushing, stop doubting. You step into alignment, and in doing so you step into a flow where things begin to come together with ease. You wake up, you feel an undeniable sense of inner peace, one that is not dependent on circumstances or the approval of others. It is a peace that surpasses understanding, a calmness that remains unshaken by the turbulence of the external world. You no longer react impulsively to situations. Instead, you observe them with clarity, responding with wisdom rather than fear. The things that once disturbed your mind, the worries that once kept you awake at night, no longer hold power over you. You trust in the unseen, in the divine unfolding of your path, knowing that every experience, whether joyful or challenging, is guiding you toward your highest good. Doubt no longer consumes you. You do not waste energy questioning whether you are capable, whether you are deserving, whether you are moving in the right direction. You know there is a quiet certainty within you, a deep-seated conviction that you are being led, that every step is divinely orchestrated. Even when the road ahead is unclear, you do not panic, for you have learned to trust the process. You understand now that everything happens at the perfect time, and what is meant for you will never miss you. The past no longer defines you. You are not trapped by old mistakes, regrets, or painful memories. You have released the need to relive those moments, to hold on to what no longer serves you. You have forgiven yourself, forgiven others, and set yourself free. The weight you once carried, the guilt, the shame, the resentment, is gone. In its place is a lightness, a sense of freedom that allows you to move forward, unburdened, fully open to the blessings that await you. Opportunities begin to appear effortlessly. What once felt distant now feels within reach. The right people come into your life at the right time, without force, without struggle. Doors that once seemed closed now swing open with ease. You do not need to chase anything, for you have stepped into alignment with the flow of life. Your desires, your dreams, your highest aspirations, they are no longer things you wish for, they are things you expect. And because you expect them, they come. You are no longer controlled by fear. Fear no longer dictates your choices, no longer paralyzes you from taking action. You recognize fear for what it is, a false illusion, a limiting belief that you have now transcended. Instead of resisting it, you acknowledge it and move forward anyway. Fear may whisper, but it does not lead you. You walk with courage, knowing that everything you desire is on the other side of that fear. You do not seek validation. You no longer look to others to confirm your worth, to approve of your choices, to validate your dreams. You have stepped into your own power, and in doing so you have become immune to the opinions of the world. You trust yourself. You trust your intuition, your inner voice, the divine guidance that speaks softly but clearly. You no longer need external confirmation because you already know you are exactly where you need to be. Synchronicities surround you. You notice patterns, repeating numbers, meaningful coincidences that remind you that you are being guided. These are not random occurrences, they are signs, confirmations that you are in alignment with your highest path. You no longer dismiss them as mere chance. You understand that everything is connected, that the universe is constantly speaking to you, affirming that you are on the right path. You no longer cling to control. There is no need to force things, no need to manipulate outcomes. You have learned to surrender, to trust, to let go of the illusion of control. And in doing so, you find that everything falls into place effortlessly. What is meant for you comes naturally. What is not meant for you fades away without resistance. You do not chase, you do not struggle, you allow. And in this allowing, you discover true power. Your relationships begin to shift. The people who are aligned with your new frequency naturally remain, while those who are not begin to drift away. You do not force connections, you do not beg people to stay. You understand that as you evolve, so does your environment. You no longer fear losing people because you know that those who are meant for you will always find a way to stay. You attract relationships that uplift, support, and align with your highest self. There is no more waiting. You no longer wait for happiness, for love, for success. You embody it now. You do not postpone your joy for some future moment. You live it in the present. You no longer say, "I will be happy when," because you have realized that happiness is not something to be chased. It is something to be chosen. And because you choose it now, your life begins to reflect that choice. Your self-worth is no longer tied to external achievements. You no longer measure your value based on how much you accomplish, how much you earn, how others perceive you. You have stepped into a place of deep self-acceptance, a knowing that you are enough as you are. This does not mean you do not strive for more, but you no longer attach your worth to the outcome. You know that your value is inherent, unshakable, undeniable. You wake up with gratitude. Each day is no longer something to endure, but something to embrace. You begin to notice the small things, the beauty in the simple moments, the morning sunlight, the sound of the wind, the laughter of a loved one. These things fill you with appreciation. You are no longer waiting for something extraordinary to happen to feel grateful. Gratitude has become your default state, and because of that, life continues to give you more to be grateful for. You no longer react emotionally to delays or detours. What used to frustrate you now only deepens your trust. You understand that every delay has a purpose, that every redirection is a blessing in disguise. You no longer resist when things do not go as planned, because you know that there is always a higher plan unfolding. You embrace patience, knowing that what is truly meant for you can never be lost. You feel a deep connection to something greater. Whether you call it God, the universe, divine intelligence, you no longer feel separate from it. You understand that you are not alone, that you are guided, supported, and deeply loved. This awareness changes everything. You no longer live in fear, in doubt, in uncertainty. You walk with confidence, with faith, with a knowing that you are part of something far greater than yourself. You stop seeking and start being. You no longer search for answers outside of yourself, because you realize that everything you have been looking for has always been within you. You stop trying to become someone else and instead fully embrace who you are. And in doing so, you find peace, you find purpose, you find freedom. Everything begins to align, not because you forced it, not because you fought for it, but because you became it. You stepped into the energy of what you desired, and the world responded accordingly. You no longer hope for a better life. You live it. You no longer wait for the right time. You create it. You no longer question if you are on the right path. You know you are. And because of that, you move forward, not with hesitation, but with absolute certainty. You are no longer bound by fear, by doubt, by the limitations of the past. You are free, free to create, free to love, free to live as the highest version of yourself. And as you continue on this path, you do so with the unwavering trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. You find yourself no longer driven by urgency, no longer feeling the need to rush or force things into place. There is a stillness within you, a deep knowing that what is meant for you will find you effortlessly. You no longer operate from a place of desperation or scarcity, because you have realized that abundance is already yours. You no longer believe that life is something you must fight against or conquer. Instead, you flow with it, trusting that every experience is bringing you closer to the life you are always meant to live. Your mind has become clear, no longer cluttered with fear-based thoughts or self-doubt. The mental chatter that once filled your days has quieted, replaced by a calm and steady confidence. You no longer feel the need to seek reassurance from others because you have cultivated an inner strength that cannot be shaken. The old need for approval, the constant worrying about what others think, has dissolved. You stand firm in your truth, unmoved by the opinions of the world. There is a newfound ease in your presence, a lightness in the way you move through life. The struggles that once felt overwhelming no longer have the same power over you. You do not resist challenges, you welcome them, knowing that each obstacle is simply an opportunity for growth. You do not shrink in the face of adversity, you rise to meet it with unwavering faith. You trust that every difficulty is shaping you, strengthening you, refining you into the person you were always meant to become. You no longer feel the need to compare your journey to others. You have let go of the illusion that you are behind or that you must meet certain milestones to be worthy. You understand that your path is unique, that your timing is divine, and that there is no race to be won. You no longer envy the success of others because you know that what is meant for them is theirs, and what is meant for you is on its way. Jealousy has no place in your heart because you recognize that abundance is infinite and that there is more than enough for everyone. Your intuition has become sharper, guiding you with clarity and precision. You no longer second-guess yourself, no longer ignore the whispers of your soul. You trust your instincts, knowing that they are leading you in the right direction. The small, quiet voice within you has become your compass, and you follow it without hesitation. You do not need logical explanations for everything. You simply know, and in that knowing, you find freedom. You are no longer held captive by the opinions of others. The judgments, the criticisms, the expectations, they no longer define you. You have learned that you cannot control how others perceive you. And more importantly, you no longer care to try. You live authentically, unapologetically, fully aligned with your own truth. You no longer mold yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. You have outgrown the need to please, and in doing so, you have stepped into the fullness of who you are. Your energy has shifted, and as a result, everything around you has begun to change. You notice that the things you once attracted, the struggles, the disappointments, the toxic cycles, are no longer present in your life. You no longer engage in meaningless drama, no longer tolerate relationships that drain your spirit. The more you honor yourself, the more you find yourself surrounded by people and experiences that uplift and inspire you. You have become a magnet for peace, for love, for abundance. You no longer chase after love, no longer seek validation in another person's presence. You have cultivated a love within yourself so deep that it radiates outward. You understand that real love does not require force, does not come with conditions or fears. You do not beg for attention, do not settle for half-hearted connections. You attract love effortlessly because you have become love itself. The relationships in your life now reflect the love you have nurtured within. Your faith has become unshakable. You no longer question whether things will work out for you. You know they will. You do not allow temporary setbacks to discourage you because you understand that they are simply redirections, guiding you to something even greater. You trust in divine timing, knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. You no longer pray out of desperation, but out of gratitude. not because you lack, but because you already have. You are no longer a prisoner of the past. The pain, the disappointments, the betrayals, they no longer hold power over you. You have released them, choosing to walk forward unburdened. You no longer carry resentment in your heart, no longer replay old wounds in your mind. Forgiveness has set you free, not because the past was justified, but because you refuse to allow it to dictate your future. You have reclaimed your power, no longer allowing what happened to define who you are. You no longer wait for permission to live the life you desire. You have stepped into a space where you create your own reality, where you boldly claim the blessings that have always been yours. You are no longer afraid to take up space, no longer afraid to speak your truth, no longer afraid to shine. You walk with confidence, with grace, with a quiet yet undeniable strength. You do not need to announce your growth. It is evident in the way you carry yourself, in the way you move through the world. You are no longer weighed down by the fear of failure. You understand that failure is an illusion, that every misstep is simply a lesson, a redirection, a stepping stone toward your success. You do not fear taking risks. Do not fear stepping outside of your comfort zone. You embrace change, knowing that the greatest transformations happen when you allow yourself to evolve. You no longer cling to the familiar, no longer hold on to what feels safe. You trust that every ending is a new beginning, that every loss is making space for something greater. You have discovered that happiness is not something to be found outside of you, not something that depends on circumstances or achievements. You have realized that happiness is a choice, a state of being that you cultivate within. You no longer postpone your joy for some future moment. You live it now. You no longer believe that you will be happy when you reach a certain goal or when things finally fall into place. You understand that happiness exists in this moment, in the here and now. You wake up each day with gratitude, not because everything is perfect, but because you have learned to see the beauty in everything. You no longer take the small things for granted, no longer overlook the blessings that surround you. You appreciate the warmth of the sun, the laughter of a friend, the simple moments that once went unnoticed. You understand that the more you focus on gratitude, the more life gives you to be grateful for. You are no longer attached to the outcome. You do not cling to specific results, do not place your happiness in things turning out a certain way. You have surrendered, trusting that what is meant for you will come in its own perfect time. You do not resist change, do not fight against what is unfolding. You flow with life, allowing it to unfold naturally, knowing that everything is happening for your highest good. You have stepped into a new version of yourself, one that is no longer bound by fear, by doubt, by the limitations of the past. You have become the person you were always meant to be, whole, confident, at peace. You no longer need to prove anything to anyone. You no longer seek external validation, no longer wait for life to happen to you. You have taken control, not through force, but through alignment. You have become unstoppable, not because you never fall, but because you always rise. You no longer dwell on what could go wrong, you focus on what is possible. You no longer limit yourself with old beliefs, you have rewritten your story. You no longer hope for change, you embody it. You have stepped into your power, and now there is no turning back. You have come too far to doubt now. Every sign, every shift, every moment of clarity has been leading you to this place of understanding. You are not lost. You are divinely guided. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. The journey may not always be easy, but the path is clear, because it is the one you were always meant to walk. Trust in the unfolding. Trust in yourself. Trust that you are on the right path, and nothing can take away what has already been set in motion. The life you seek is not ahead of you, it is already here. Step forward with faith and watch it manifest before your very eyes. There are moments in life when the world around you shifts, when the unseen becomes more real than the seen, and when your very presence carries a weight that cannot be explained by human understanding. If you notice these things happening, then know that you carry the presence of God. You begin to feel a deep inner peace, one that does not depend on external circumstances. The storms of life may rage, yet within you there is stillness. This is not mere calmness, it is the awareness that you are held, that you are guided, and that nothing can shake the foundation upon which you stand. It is as if the very air around you hums with the assurance of divine protection. The desires of your heart begin to align effortlessly with your reality. Things you once strived for now flow into your life with ease. There is no need for struggle, for you have stepped into the realm of divine manifestation. Your words carry weight. What you speak begins to unfold before you, and what you believe with conviction finds its way into your experience. This is not coincidence. This is the evidence of God's power working through you. People are drawn to you, not for what you do, but for what you radiate. Some will come to you for wisdom, sensing that within you lies something greater than knowledge, a knowing that surpasses human intellect. Others may resist you, for the light within you exposes what is hidden. Your presence alone stirs the hearts of those around you, awakening in them either love or resistance. This is the mark of someone who carries divine presence. You find that obstacles no longer hold power over you. Where once doors remained shut, now they open before you. Paths unfold in ways you never anticipated, and opportunities arrive at the perfect moment. There is no need to chase after anything, for the universe bends in your favor. The energy of struggle is replaced by the grace of divine movement. Even in the face of adversity, you walk with assurance, knowing that all things are working together for your highest good. Your words and thoughts take on a new power. You begin to speak life into situations, and they transform before your eyes. Doubt loses its grip, and faith becomes second nature. You no longer beg or plead. Instead, you affirm, knowing that your prayers are not petitions but declarations of truth. There is an authority in your voice, not from arrogance, but from the certainty that you and the divine are one. You experience a heightened awareness of divine synchronicity. You think of something, and almost instantly confirmation appears. A message, a sign, a perfectly timed encounter. Everything aligns as if guided by an unseen hand. It is not luck, it is the natural outworking of carrying God's presence. You are no longer a mere observer of life, you are a creator, moving in harmony with divine will. Even in solitude, you are never alone. You sense the unseen, feel the embrace of a presence that walks with you, speaks to you, and moves through you. Fear dissolves because you know that you are sustained by something eternal. There is no separation between you and the divine. You are the vessel through which divine power flows. What once seemed distant is now as close as your own breath. You begin to see beyond appearances. Where others see lack, you see abundance. Where others see limitations, you see infinite possibilities. Your vision is no longer confined to the physical. You see with the eyes of faith, knowing that reality is shaped by what is unseen. Your world is no longer controlled by circumstances. It is shaped by the power of your belief. When you notice these things, know that you are not ordinary. You carry something sacred, something powerful, something eternal. You carry the presence of God. There is a weight to your existence, a presence that extends beyond flesh and bone. You do not walk as others walk, nor do you see as others see. There is an awareness within you, an unshakable knowing that transcends logic. When you carry the presence of God, life does not happen to you. It flows through you, responding to the force of your consciousness. Everything around you begins to shift. The places you once found comfort in may no longer hold the same appeal. The conversations that once entertained you now feel empty. You are no longer drawn to the noise of the world because something deeper calls you. Silence becomes your sanctuary, not because you are alone, but because in the stillness you can hear the whisper of the divine. The distractions that once captured your attention now fade, for your spirit craves something greater. You are not running from the world, you are ascending above it. Time bends to those who carry the presence of God. What takes years for others to accomplish happens in moments for you. You think it, you believe it, and it manifests. What once seemed distant is now within reach. This is not wishful thinking, it is the nature of divine power. You do not chase, for what is yours gravitates toward you. There is no need for toil, for your very presence commands alignment. You step into a room, and the atmosphere shifts. Those who recognize the presence upon you will be drawn to you, while those who resist it will be unsettled. You are a carrier of something beyond human comprehension. You feel an overwhelming sense of love, not the fleeting kind found in human relationships, but a love that surpasses all understanding. It is the love that calms storms, the love that heals wounds, the love that whispers, "You are not separate, you are one with all that is." You look upon others with compassion, for you see beyond their actions, beyond their words. You see the divine spark within them, even when they cannot see it themselves. Where there is hate, you bring peace. Where there is chaos, you bring order. You do not react to the world, you shape it. Doors open before you as if an unseen hand goes before you, clearing the path. What seemed impossible now stands before you, waiting for you to step into it. You do not beg for opportunities, for you understand that they are drawn to you. You do not fear loss, for nothing real can be taken from you. The presence of God within you is the source of all provision, and you move through life with unwavering confidence. The others may call it luck, but you know the truth. It is the divine working through you. You begin to notice divine patterns. What once seemed like random occurrences now reveal themselves as orchestrated moments of destiny. You think of something, and the answer appears. You speak of someone, and they call you. You take a step forward, and the path unfolds before you. Coincidence no longer exists in your world. Everything is aligned, everything is ordered, everything is working in your favor. This is what happens when you carry the presence of God. People will misunderstand you. They will question your peace, your certainty, your unwavering faith. Some will try to pull you back into doubt, back into the ordinary ways of thinking. But you cannot go back. You have touched something eternal, and nothing less will satisfy you. The opinions of others no longer concern you, for you have found something greater than human approval. You walk with the confidence of one who knows their purpose, one who knows they are guided, one who knows they are never alone. Your words are no longer empty. You speak and things move. You declare and reality aligns. You do not hope for things to change. You expect them to. You understand the power of your voice, the creative force within you. When you say, "Let there be," it is so. The presence you carry does not allow for doubt has no place where God resides. You do not pray with uncertainty, you speak with assurance. You do not ask timidly, you command boldly. Your faith is not fragile, it is unshakable. There is a boldness within you that cannot be explained. Where others hesitate, you move forward. Where others fear, you stand firm. There is no need for validation, for you already know who you are. The presence of God does not make you timid, it makes you powerful. You do not seek to fit in, for you were never meant to. You do not shrink yourself to make others comfortable, for you were created to shine. Your presence alone is a statement, a declaration that something greater is at work within you. You are no longer moved by appearances. What seems like a setback is nothing more than a setup. What looks like loss is only preparation for something greater. You see beyond the surface, beyond the temporary. Your trust is not in what you see with your eyes, but in what you know within your spirit. You walk by faith, not by sight. When others panic, you remain calm. When others retreat, you advance. The presence of God does not allow you to cower. It compels you to rise. You attract favor in ways that cannot be explained. Where others strive, you succeed effortlessly. Where others knock on doors, doors swing open for you. It is not because of who you are, but because of who is with you. You do not need connections, for you are already connected to the source of all things. You do not need permission, for you have already been chosen. The presence of God upon you is your qualification, and nothing can stand in the way of divine favor. Obstacles become stepping stones. What was meant to break you only builds you. What was meant to stop you only propels you forward. You are no longer bound by limitations, for you know that all things are possible. The presence of God within you removes barriers, dismantles opposition, and makes a way where there was no way. You are not waiting for circumstances to change. You are shifting circumstances with your faith. You begin to recognize the divine in every moment. You see God in the sunrise, in the laughter of a child, in the kindness of a stranger. The world is no longer mundane, it is sacred. Every breath is a gift. Every step is ordered. Every encounter is divine. You are aware, awake, alive, in a way that others are not. You see the unseen, hear the unheard, know the unknown. There is no fear in you, for fear cannot exist where God dwells. You do not fear lack, for you know abundance. You do not fear failure, for you know success is inevitable. You do not fear death, for you know that you are eternal. The presence of God dissolves all fear, replacing it with unshakable confidence. You do not hesitate, you do not doubt, you do not retreat. You move forward with the authority of one who knows they are sent. You do not complain, for you understand the power of your words. You do not speak of lack, for you know that what you declare becomes your reality. You guard your tongue, for you recognize that every word carries weight. You do not waste energy on negativity, for you are too focused on creating. Your speech is deliberate. Your thoughts are intentional. Your actions are aligned with divine purpose. You live with gratitude, for you know that everything is working for your good. Even in challenges, you see the blessing. Even in trials, you find the lesson. You do not dwell on what is missing. You celebrate what is already yours. Your heart is full. Your spirit is light. Your mind is at peace. Gratitude is not something you practice. It is something you embody. Your life is a testimony. Without speaking a word, your presence alone tells the story of divine power at work. You are a living, breathing manifestation of God's presence. You do not have to convince others, they see it. You do not have to prove yourself, it is evident. When you walk into a room, something shifts. When you speak, something moves. When you believe, something happens. If you notice these things happening in your life, then know without a doubt that you carry the presence of God. There is a stillness within you that no storm can shake. The world around you may be filled with noise, but inside there is peace. Not the fragile peace that depends on circumstances, but the kind that remains unmoved, unshaken, untouched. It is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of something greater. While others panic at uncertainty, you rest, for you know who holds your future. You do not fear what is to come, for you already walk in the assurance that all things are working for your good. The presence you carry is not one of doubt, but of divine certainty. People begin to come to you, drawn to something they cannot explain. They seek your presence, your words, your energy, though they may not understand why. It is not you they are after, but what is within you. You are a vessel of something divine, and even those who do not know God can sense that you walk with something greater. They bring their burdens, their questions, their confusion, hoping that just by being near you, they might receive clarity. You do not force wisdom upon them, but when you speak, it is as though truth flows through you effortlessly. Your words are not just heard, they are felt. They penetrate the heart, breaking chains, lifting spirits, awakening minds. You will notice that enemies arise, but you do not fear them. Resistance increases, but you do not falter. You understand that opposition is only proof of the power you carry. Darkness does not fight what does not threaten it. The moment you begin to walk fully in the presence of God, those who operate in deception and fear will feel the weight of your presence, but you do not fight with anger. For there is no need. You do not defend yourself, for the truth stands on its own. You do not seek revenge, for vengeance belongs to the divine. You simply stand, unbothered, unshaken, immovable. Your patience deepens. You no longer rush through life, chasing after things that were never meant for you. You do not strive, for you know that what is meant for you will come effortlessly. What others fight for, you attract. What others beg for, you receive freely. You understand that delay is not denial, but divine alignment. There is no need to panic, no need to force, no need to doubt. What is yours will find you, and nothing can take it away. Your trust is complete, your faith unwavering. You find yourself speaking differently. Words of doubt no longer exit your mouth. You do not say, "I hope it works." You say, "It is done." You do not say, "I am afraid." You say, "I am at peace." Your words are not casual, they are declarations. You know that the power of life and death is in the tongue, and you refuse to speak defeat over your life. Your language shifts from lack to abundance, from worry to trust, from uncertainty to confidence. You are careful with your words, for you understand that what you declare becomes your reality. Your energy changes. You do not chase people, you do not force relationships, you do not cling to what is leaving. What is not meant for you falls away effortlessly, and you do not mourn it. You do not grieve lost friendships, for you understand that elevation requires separation. You are not offended when people walk away, for you know that not everyone can go where you are going. You release without resistance, knowing that whatever is meant for you will remain. You are no longer desperate for connection, for you have already found the greatest connection of all. Your desires shift. What once excited you no longer holds your attention. The things that used to entertain you now seem dull. You hunger for wisdom, for truth, for depth. Surface-level conversations no longer interest you. You crave divine insight, revelation, understanding. You no longer waste time on things that do not feed your spirit. Your focus narrows, your priorities change, your heart aligns with a higher calling. What used to drain you now disgusts you. What once tempted you now repels you. You are no longer satisfied with anything less than divine purpose. People around you may not understand. Some will call you distant. Others will say you have changed. They are right. You have changed. You are no longer who you once were. You no longer fit into the spaces that once contained you. You no longer engage in the same distractions. You have outgrown the version of yourself that needed external validation. You no longer seek approval, for you have already been approved by the divine. You do not explain yourself, for truth needs no defense. You do not justify your transformation, for those meant to understand will see it for themselves. You notice miracles more often, not because they were not happening before, but because your eyes are now open to them. The world calls them coincidences, but you know better. You see the hand of God in everything, the timing, the connections, the opportunities. They are too perfect to be random. Everything is orchestrated, everything is aligned, everything is unfolding exactly as it should. You do not doubt, for you see the evidence everywhere. You do not question, for you know that all things are working in divine order. You carry peace with you, and others feel it. You enter a space, and without saying a word, the atmosphere shifts. Tension dissolves, anxiety fades, burdens lighten. It is not your presence that does this, but the presence within you. It is undeniable, unmistakable, unshakable. You do not need to announce it, for it is evident in how you move, how you speak, how you exist. You radiate something beyond human comprehension, something that cannot be fabricated, something that cannot be imitated. You can radiate something that cannot be imitated. You lose interest in arguments, in proving yourself, in convincing others. You are no longer affected by the opinions of those who do not understand your calling. You do not waste energy debating with those who refuse to see. You walk away from conflict, not because you are weak, but because you know your strength is not in words but in presence. You do not engage in battles that are beneath you, for you understand that your victory has already been secured. You do not react to negativity, for you know that nothing can touch you, unless you allow it. Your dreams become clearer, more vivid, more powerful. What used to be mere thoughts now come alive. You see glimpses of the future before they unfold. Your intuition sharpens, your discernment deepens. You sense things before they happen. You know things without being told. You feel shifts in the spiritual realm before they manifest in the physical. You are guided, led, directed at every step. You no longer question where you are going, for you trust the one who is leading you. Everything that once confused you now makes sense. The delays, the detours, the disappointments, they were never setbacks, only setups. Every closed door was protection. Every loss was preparation. Every struggle was strengthening you for what is to come. You see now that nothing was wasted, nothing was accidental, nothing was outside of divine design. Every piece of your journey was necessary. Every lesson was preparing you. Every pain was molding you into the person you were destined to become. You are not the same, and you never will be. The presence of God upon you has changed everything. You walk differently, speak differently, think differently. You no longer wait for signs, for you have become the sign. You no longer seek confirmation, for you already know. You do not hesitate, for you have already decided. You are not afraid, for you have already won. If you notice these things happening in your life, then you do not need to question it. You do not need further proof. You do not need validation. You carry the presence of God. It is undeniable, unstoppable, unshakable. You are no longer walking alone. You are no longer searching for answers. You are no longer wondering if you are chosen. You know. And that knowing is all you need. There is a force moving through you, an energy that cannot be contained, a light that cannot be hidden. You feel it when you wake up in the morning, a quiet assurance that no matter what happens, you are held, you are guided, you are seen. You no longer chase after what is already destined to be yours. You no longer beg for what has already been promised. You walk as one who knows that the divine is working on your behalf, orchestrating, aligning, moving the unseen to bring forth the seen. The world around you begins to shift. Situations that once brought you stress no longer hold the same weight. Conversations that once provoked a reaction from you now feel unimportant. You find yourself responding with patience, with wisdom, with grace. It is not that the world has changed, but that you have. You are not the same person who once fought unnecessary battles. You have no desire to prove yourself, no need to defend yourself. The presence you carry speaks for itself. It announces itself before you even open your mouth. People notice that there is something different about you. They may not be able to articulate it, but they feel it. They sense a shift in your energy, a depth in your presence, a power in your silence. You do not need to explain yourself, for your life has become the evidence of something greater at work. You are not moved by gossip, not disturbed by chaos, not shaken by uncertainty. The world may be in turmoil, but you remain anchored. The winds may blow, but you do not sway. The storms may come, but you do not break. You stand firm, unmovable, unstoppable. Doors begin to open effortlessly. Opportunities find you without struggle. What once required force now flows naturally. The things you once ran after now run after you. You understand that what is meant for you cannot be taken, delayed, or denied. You no longer worry about the future because you know the future is already written in your favor. The presence within you ensures that every step is guided, every decision is blessed, every path is made straight. Every path is made straight. There is no need to rush, no need to strive, no need to control. You surrender, and in that surrender, everything falls into place. Your relationships change. Some people will drift away not because you push them out, but because they no longer align with where you are going. Others will be drawn to you, sent by divine timing, meant to walk this journey with you. You do not force connections, for you understand that what is divinely appointed will naturally stay. You do not cling to the past, for you trust that whatever exits your life is making room for something greater. You release with grace, you let go with peace, you trust without fear. You begin to hear divine whispers in the quiet moments. You no longer need loud confirmations, dramatic signs, or external proof. You just know. There is an inner guidance, a sacred intuition that leads you, nudges you, speaks to you in ways that words cannot express. You find yourself in the right place at the right time, making decisions that seem small but later reveal themselves to be monumental. You understand that nothing is random, that every moment is connected, that every experience is shaping you. Your battles are no longer fought with words, with anger, with resistance. You fight by standing still. You win by walking in peace. You overcome by refusing to be shaken. Your power is in your stillness, in your unshakable trust, in your ability to rest even when everything around you is in motion. The presence you carry does not require noise. It does not seek attention. It does not beg to be seen. It simply exists. And in its existence, everything changes. You find joy in the smallest moments. A sunrise, a quiet moment, a deep breath. You no longer need grand achievements to feel fulfilled. You no longer need recognition to feel worthy. You no longer need validation to feel enough. You are enough simply because you exist. You are complete, not because of what you have, but because of who you are. There is a contentment within you that nothing can take away, a joy that is not dependent on circumstances, a gratitude that flows effortlessly, without condition, without expectation. Your vision expands. You no longer see with human eyes, but with divine perspective. You recognize that delays are not denials, that obstacles are only redirections, that every challenge carries a lesson. You do not panic when plans shift, for you understand that what is meant for you cannot be lost. You trust the process even when you do not understand it. You embrace the unknown, knowing that it is leading you somewhere greater. You walk by faith, not by sight, and in doing so, you see what others cannot. Everything about you radiates assurance. You do not question your worth, for you know that you are chosen. You do not doubt your path, for you know that you are guided. You do not fear the future, for you know that it has already been secured. You move differently, speak differently, think differently. You are no longer waiting for permission to be who you were created to be. You are no longer playing small, no longer shrinking to make others comfortable. You stand tall, fully aware of the light you carry, fully confident in the presence that dwells within you. Time bends in your favor. What should take years happens in months. What should be difficult becomes effortless. The impossible becomes possible. It is not luck, not coincidence, not chance. It is the divine presence moving through you, working for you, manifesting around you. You are not striving, you are flowing. You are not forcing, you are allowing. You are not chasing, you are attracting. Everything that belongs to you is making its way to you with perfect timing, with divine precision. You do not compare your journey to others, for you know that your path is uniquely designed for you. You are not in competition, not in a race, not in a hurry. You trust that what is yours will never miss you. You celebrate others without jealousy, knowing that their success does not diminish your own. You move with confidence, knowing that your story is unfolding exactly as it should. There is no need for anxiety, no room for doubt, no space for fear. You trust, and because you trust, you are at peace. The presence you carry cannot be hidden. It is felt in your words, in your silence, in your very being. It is not something you put on, it is something you embody. It does not fade, does not weaken, does not waver. It is constant, unwavering, eternal. It goes before you, making ways where there were none. It surrounds you, protecting you from what you cannot see. It dwells within you, filling you with wisdom, with strength, with clarity. If you have noticed these things in your life, then you already know. You do not need further proof. You do not need confirmation. You do not need validation. You carry the presence of God, and because of that, everything about your life is different. Everything about your future is secure. Everything about your path is aligned. There is nothing to fear, nothing to doubt, nothing to question. You know, and that knowing is enough. There is a certainty that settles within you, a quiet knowing that you are never alone. Even in moments of solitude, there is a presence that envelops you, a warmth that reassures you, a whisper that speaks directly to your soul. You no longer seek external validation because the truth of who you are has already been revealed to you. The world may offer its opinions, but they do not define you. Circumstances may shift, but they do not shake you. And the presence within you is the foundation upon which your life stands, and because of it, you cannot be moved. There is a divine order unfolding in your life. You begin to notice how things align without effort, how opportunities present themselves without struggle. The right people enter your life at the right time. The right doors open exactly when you need them to. You are no longer forcing things to happen, you are allowing them to unfold. You have stepped into a rhythm, a flow, where everything works together for your good. What once seemed impossible now feels inevitable. What once required endless striving now comes with ease. Your perception of time changes. You are no longer in a rush, no longer anxious about the future. You understand that what is meant for you will never miss you. You trust that everything is happening in divine timing, and because of that, you are at peace. Delays do not discourage you. Setbacks do not break you. Uncertainty does not make you afraid. You move with patience, knowing that everything is being arranged in ways beyond your understanding. You do not chase, you do not beg, you do not grasp. You receive. The presence within you draws things toward you, without effort, without strain, without manipulation. What you seek is already seeking you. The desires of your heart are not random. They are planted within you for a reason. You no longer doubt your worthiness to receive. You no longer question whether you are deserving. You know that you are. You understand that you are not waiting for a blessing. You are the blessing. You are not waiting for an answer. You are the answer. Everything you need has already been placed inside of you. You find yourself detached from outcomes. You are no longer afraid of losing, no longer worried about missing an opportunity, no longer obsessed with controlling the process. You trust that what belongs to you cannot be taken, cannot be delayed, cannot be denied. This trust gives you freedom. You move with an open heart, unafraid of disappointment, unafraid of failure, unafraid of the unknown. You no longer hold on too tightly, for you know that what is yours will always return to you. There is a radiance in your presence. It is not forced, not fabricated, not performed. It simply is. You do not need to announce it, for it speaks for itself. People are drawn to you, not because of what you say, but because of what they feel in your presence. There is peace in your energy, wisdom in your silence, love in your very being. You carry something that cannot be explained, only experienced. Without trying, you uplift others. Without effort, you inspire. Without speaking, you remind people of something greater. Your faith is no longer dependent on what you see. You do not need signs to believe. You do not need proof to trust. You simply know. Even in moments of uncertainty, you remain confident. Even when things do not make sense, you remain steadfast. You understand that the presence within you is greater than anything that can come against you. You do not fear the unknown, for you know that you are held. You do not fear the future, for you know that it is already secure. There is a stillness within you. The world may be chaotic, but you are calm. Situations may be unpredictable, but you are steady. People may be unreliable, but you are anchored. You are no longer easily swayed by emotions, no longer reactive to negativity, no longer controlled by external circumstances. You observe, but you do not absorb. You acknowledge, but you do not engage. You understand that your peace is your power, and you guard it fiercely. Things that used to trigger you no longer have the same effect. Where you once would have reacted, you now respond with wisdom. Where you once would have engaged in unnecessary conflict, you now choose silence. Where you once would have fought to prove yourself, you now let your presence speak. You no longer seek validation, for you know that you are already enough. You no longer need permission, for you know that you are already chosen. Your prayers shift. You no longer pray from desperation, but from expectation. You do not beg, you declare. You do not plead, you affirm. You do not hope, you know. Your words carry power, your intentions carry weight, your desires manifest with ease. You understand that your thoughts create, your beliefs shape reality, your faith moves mountains. You are no longer asking for what is already yours, you are stepping into it with certainty. You feel a deep connection to everything around you. Nature speaks to you in ways it never has before. A breeze, a sunset, a quiet moment all feel sacred. You no longer rush through life, but savor it. You no longer overlook the small moments, but cherish them. You realize that presence is not just something you carry, it is something you live. You are fully here, fully aware, fully alive. Your heart expands, compassion flows effortlessly. You forgive easily, not because others deserve it, but because you deserve peace. You release resentment, not because the past changes, but because you refuse to be bound by it. You love without fear, without hesitation, without condition. Your love is not transactional, not limited, not selective. It is pure, abundant, overflowing. You no longer need love to be proven, for you have become love itself. You become an example without trying. Your life speaks louder than your words ever could. Your actions reflect your faith. Your presence reflects your peace. Your being reflects divine love. You do not need to force anyone to understand you, for those who are meant to will see it. You do not need to convince anyone of your worth, for those who recognize truth will honor it. You are a light, and light does not seek permission to shine, it simply shines. You recognize the divine in others. You see beyond appearances, beyond mistakes, beyond limitations. You see people not as they are, but as they are capable of becoming. You speak life into them, not by force, but by presence. You remind them, not with words, but with example. You do not demand change, you inspire it. You do not push growth, you embody it. Everything begins to align in ways you never imagined. Paths open where there were none. Resources appear without explanation. Solutions arise without effort. It is not magic, not coincidence, not luck. It is divine orchestration. It is the natural flow of one who walks with presence, one who trusts the unseen, one who knows that they are guided. There is nothing to fear, nothing to prove, nothing to doubt. You are not waiting for a sign. You are the sign. You are not waiting for confirmation. You are the confirmation. You are not waiting for permission. You are already chosen. You walk with authority, with certainty, with unshakable faith. You do not wonder if you carry presence. You know that you do. And because of that knowing, everything about your life is different. There is a deep sense of knowing that rises within you, a certainty that defies logic, a quiet voice that reassures you in ways no external words ever could. You no longer search for signs outside of yourself because you have come to recognize that the greatest sign is within you. There is no need to seek validation from the world, for the presence you carry is your confirmation. You walk with a confidence that is not arrogant, but assured. It is not based on circumstances, but on truth. Even when things seem unclear, you do not waver. Even when the path is uncertain, you do not fear. The presence within you is your compass, guiding you, directing you, aligning everything for your highest good. Situations that once troubled you no longer have the same power. You do not react as you once did. You no longer feel the need to defend yourself, to prove yourself, to explain yourself. The presence within you has settled every argument before it even begins. There is a peace that speaks louder than words, a stillness that cannot be shaken. The opinions of others no longer define you, for you know who you are. Rejection does not wound you, for you understand that nothing meant for you can ever pass you by. Delay does not discourage you, for you have come to trust divine timing. You are no longer a prisoner of external circumstances. You have become free in the truest sense. Doors open effortlessly. What once required struggle now flows with ease. Where there were obstacles, now there are opportunities. What seemed impossible suddenly becomes inevitable. It is not that life has become easier, but that you have stepped into alignment. You no longer force, no longer chase, no longer manipulate outcomes. Instead, you allow, you trust, you receive. Everything you need is drawn to you, not through effort, but through presence. There is a quiet power in knowing that you do not have to strive, that you do not have to beg, that you do not have to push. What is yours will always find you. Your very being carries authority. It is not in the volume of your words, but in the weight of your presence. You do not need to prove your power, it is felt. You do not need to announce your wisdom, it is known. There is something about you that shifts the atmosphere, something unseen yet undeniable. When you enter a room, things change. People sense it without understanding it. Some are drawn to it, others are unsettled by it, but none can ignore it. It is the mark of those who carry presence. You are no longer easily moved by the opinions of others. Praise does not inflate you, and criticism does not diminish you. You are anchored, grounded, unwavering. You understand that approval from people is fleeting, but the presence within you is eternal. You do not seek to please everyone, for you know that not everyone will understand the path you walk. You do not seek to be understood by all, for you realize that truth is often recognized only by those who are ready to see it. You are at peace with being misunderstood, at ease with walking alone if necessary, content with the knowledge that you are guided. Your relationship with challenges has transformed. What once seemed like opposition now feels like preparation. What once felt like resistance now appears as refinement. You do not resent difficulties, you embrace them. You do not fear hardship, you welcome growth. There is a deep trust that no experience is wasted, that every challenge carries a lesson, that even in the most difficult moments, you are being shaped for something greater. You no longer ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, you ask, "What is this teaching me?" And in that shift, you find strength where others find despair. You begin to notice divine synchronicities unfolding all around you. The right words appear at the right time. The right connections happen effortlessly. Answers come before the questions are even spoken. You are being guided in ways beyond human comprehension, led down a path that was prepared for you long before you were aware of it. The more you trust, the more the signs appear. The more you let go, the more everything aligns. You have stepped into a flow where struggle is replaced by surrender, where worry is replaced by wonder, where fear is replaced by faith. Your desires begin to manifest with precision. You no longer hope for things, you expect them. You do not beg for blessings, you step into them. Your prayers shift from requests to declarations, from asking to affirming, from wishing to knowing. You understand that what you seek is already seeking you. You realize that the dreams placed in your heart were never random. They were divine instructions waiting to be followed. And as you align with that truth, things unfold in ways that leave no doubt. There is an undeniable power in your words. You do not speak idly, for you understand the weight of what you declare. You no longer say things casually, for you know that words shape reality. You choose your thoughts carefully, your speech intentionally, your affirmations with certainty. What you speak, you see. What you believe, you become. You do not entertain negativity. Do not engage in doubt. Do not dwell in fear. Your mind is a garden, and you protect it fiercely. You plant only what you wish to grow. You begin to radiate a love that is unshaken by circumstances. You are no longer easily offended, no longer easily angered, no longer burdened by past hurts. You forgive, not because others deserve it, but because you refuse to carry the weight of resentment. You love, not because of what you receive in return, but because love is your nature. You give freely, expecting nothing, knowing that abundance is your birthright. Your presence heals without effort, uplifts without trying, transforms without force. You recognize divine purpose in everything. Even the smallest moments feel significant. A simple conversation carries deeper meaning. A quiet moment becomes sacred. You no longer rush through life, but savor it. You no longer overlook the ordinary, but find the extraordinary within it. Life itself becomes a reflection of the presence you carry. Your faith is no longer something you practice occasionally, it is something you live. It is in the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you move through the world. It is in your stillness, in your confidence, in your ability to trust even when nothing makes sense. You are no longer seeking miracles, you have become one. You are no longer searching for signs, you are the sign. You do not wait for confirmation, you are already chosen. And because of that knowing, you carry yourself differently, you think differently, speak differently, move differently. Everything around you begins to reflect the presence within you. People sense it before you speak. Opportunities align without effort. Doors open without knocking. You do not chase, you do not grasp, you do not force. You trust, you receive, you embody. The presence within you is undeniable. It is seen, it is felt, it is known. It is who you are. You are no longer waiting for a sign because you have become the sign. You are no longer searching for answers outside of yourself because the truth has always been within you. The presence you carry is not something you strive for, it is something you surrender to. It is not something you chase, it is something you embody. The moment you recognize it, everything changes. Your steps are guided, your path is clear, and your spirit is at peace. Walk boldly, knowing that you do not move alone. Speak with authority, knowing that your words shape reality. Trust unwaveringly, knowing that what is meant for you will always find you. Carry this presence with humility, with certainty, and with love. For when you do not just live, you transform. And through you, the world sees the undeniable proof that God is with you.